The P Market is the best place to buy retro games in Ontario, located at 2079 Carp Road in Stittsville and 109 North Front Street in Belleville. And welcome back for another exciting review. Today I have an extremely rare game for the Sega Saturn that is actually pretty damn good. If you're a fan of action RPG like Zelda, you're gonna feel right at home with this game. So why don't we go and take a look at it and see if it's any good. So today my game is Shining Wisdom for the Sega Saturn. Shining Wisdom was released in June of 1996 and it was made by Working Design, which sadly don't exist anymore, and it was an exclusive to the Sega Saturn and it was one of its early launch games. Now the story for this game, it's nothing very spectacular. There was an old war that almost destroyed the world, and one of the dark elf wants to resurrect. It's called a Titan, and you're the son of a legendary hero, and you must take his shoes, and it's nothing very spectacular in terms of story, but it's a little entertaining for what it is. I won't say that this is Working Design's best game, but it's definitely good. Now in terms of gameplay, like I said, this is an action RPG, and it's a lot like Zelda, but Zelda plays a whole lot better than this game. One thing that drives me nuts about this game is the short reach that you have. The hit detection in this game is absolutely horrible. You have to be really close to the enemies to hit them. And most of the time, because they move all the time and your movements are so slow that, you're gonna get a lot of cheap death because of that. And also the other thing that sucked is you constantly have to press the B button to be able to sprint, and then you have to leave your finger on it to be able to run. If not, you're just gonna walk. Other than those flaws, like I said, it plays a lot like Zelda. You do find the flame icons on the top. You gotta find 2 of these in dungeons and stuff like that to make a whole health flame thing up on top. There is towns and people to interact with, and armors to buy and items to buy and etc. Just like Zelda. You do find magical item, to help you out to go towards the next place. But what really sucks about this game is that there is no world map. It's very difficult to know where you're going next. Zelda: A Link to the Past, you had a world map right off the bat, and that game is a whole lot older than this. And this, I'm not sure if you could find one, but I've never had one throughout my gameplay. So I constantly had to go and look at a game FAQ to know what I gotta do next. Now in terms of graphic, this game is pretty damn ugly for a Sega Saturn games. Saturn games have done a whole lot better than this. From what I know, this was supposed to be on, I believe, the Sega CD. And when they were launching the Sega Saturn, they decided to just port it over real quick, to have a game for the system. So even again, A Link to the Past is a better looking game than this. But the cool thing about it is that it used cel shaded for very early on, so it made it quite different. Now the sound and music for this game, it's nothing crazy. You're not gonna start the boogie dancing because the tune's so good, and you're not gonna want to download the soundtrack for this, to listen on your iPod. They recycle a lot of the same music. It's nothing spectacular. It's not gonna blow your mind, that's for sure. I've always liked, the RPGs on the Sega Saturn, and I've always been a big fan of the Sega Saturn. Though even though this game does have its share of flaws, what I like about it is that, you know, it's an easy game to get into, and it's very easy to get lost in its world and trying to discover what to do next and fighting boss and, you know, checking out the story. If you grew up in the Nintendo, the original Nintendo days, you know, back in the 80s, you know, and if you really like the old school stuff where you constantly have to guess where you have to go, and you like the cheap difficulty stuff, you know, this game is definitely for you, but it's not for everybody because it will test your patience for sure. So the good stuff for this game, it's very, very old school. Like I said, if you grew up in the 80s and you've played a lot of those hard games and those early RPGs, and you know, it was cheap, hard, a lot of exploration, you're gonna get a lot of this in this game. Lots of exploration, you know, because you're gonna go, you know, back and forth all the time. And I mean, if you like the type of Zelda games, this game is basically a copycat almost of Zelda in every way. And for the bad stuff, well, you know, for a Sega Saturn system, I've seen a whole lot better than this game. The graphics are not going to blow you away. The hit detection is horrible. You know, you got such a short reach, and you're going to have those cheap death because of that stupid short reach. So it is frustrating. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen a map for this game, so to me, there's just no sense of direction but always going on the net to know what to do next. And it's always a pain in the butt when you always have to press B and leave your finger on B to be able to run faster instead of having something automatic for you to do. So there you go, guys. That's my review for Shining Wisdom. It is an entertaining game, don't get me wrong on that. But it's not, you know, the greatness of Zelda. It is a very hard game to find. Actually, you know, any Sega Saturn games are hard to find. But if you're willing to give this game a shot, or you just want it for your collection, I mean, I still say that you should give this game a try. But only, like I said, if you are a very hardcore of old school. It's not for everybody. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and thank you for watching.